The sun dipped below the trees, casting a golden hue that quickly faded into a deep, foreboding twilight. The last rays of light struggled to pierce through the dense canopy, creating an eerie glow that seemed to dance on the leaves. Shadows stretched long and thin like fingers reaching out to grab hold of the unwary. They twisted and turned, morphing into shapes that played tricks on the mind, making every step feel like a journey into the unknown. The air turned cold, bit at my skin with a sharpness that made me shiver. A mist began to rise from the forest floor, swirling around my feet and adding to the chilling atmosphere. It felt as if the forest itself was alive, breathing in the darkness. I kept walking deeper into the woods, each step echoing in the silence. The path grew narrower, more treacherous, as if it was leading me into the heart of some ancient, forgotten realm. Didn't mean to stay this late. Got caught up tracking a buck. The thrill of the hunt had consumed me, making me lose track of time. Now, the forest seemed to close in around me, every rustle and snap of a twig setting my nerves on edge. Now I was lost, swallowed by the gathering darkness. The familiar landmarks had vanished, replaced by an endless sea of trees that all looked the same. Panic began to set in, but I forced myself to stay calm. The wind rustled the leaves, sounded like whispers, conspiring secrets. It was as if the forest was alive, watching me, judging me. Every sound seemed amplified, every shadow a potential threat. I pulled my jacket tighter, wished I brought my rifle. The weight of my mistake pressed down on me, making each step feel heavier. The cold seeped into my bones, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Just gotta keep moving, I told myself. Find a landmark, a road, anything familiar. My eyes scanned the darkness, searching for any sign of the way out. But the deeper I went, the more the forest seemed to twist and turn, leading me further into its depths. But the woods just kept getting darker, more unfamiliar. The trees seemed to close in, their branches reaching out like skeletal hands. The path was gone, swallowed by the shadows, and I realized I was truly alone in the heart of the forest. A twig snapped under my boot. I froze, listened. Silence. Just the beating of my own heart in my ears. Must be nothing, I muttered, trying to convince myself. But a shiver ran down my spine. I felt watched. The wind picked up again, carrying a new sound. A low, guttural growl, distant but distinct, sent chills down my spine. I quickened my pace, heart pounding in my chest. The woods were closing in, the trees like silent sentinels in the twilight. Darkness deepened. I stumbled on, fear gnawing at my gut. Every shadow seemed to writhe, every rustle of leaves sent me jumping. Then I saw them. 2 points of light glaring from the undergrowth. Eyes, watching me. I froze, breath catching in my throat. The eyes didn't blink, didn't move. They just stared, burning into me. Fear choked me. I wanted to run, to scream, but I was rooted to the spot, trapped by the unseen creature's gaze. Slowly, I reached for my flashlight, clicked it on. The beam cut through the darkness, but the eyes were gone. I scanned the undergrowth, heart pounding. Nothing, just the wind whistling through the trees, mocking my fear. Taking a shaky breath, I told myself it was just an animal, a raccoon maybe, but deep down I knew better. Something was out there, watching me, hunting me, and it knew these woods far better than I ever could. Section 5, Footprints in the Dirt. I pressed on, driven by fear and fading hope. The moon, a sliver in the cloudy sky, offered little comfort. My flashlight beam flickered on the forest floor, revealing something strange. Footprints. Large, inhuman footprints. They weren't animal tracks. No, these were different. Three-toed, widely spaced, like nothing I'd ever seen before. Fear turned my blood to ice. Whatever was out there, it wasn't natural. It was something else. Something far more sinister. Section 6. A flickering light. I followed the footprints, a morbid curiosity driving me forward. They led me deeper into the woods, away from any familiar path. Then, through the trees, I saw it. A faint light flickering in the distance. A campfire, maybe, or a house. Hope surged through me. Maybe, just maybe, it was a sign of civilization, a chance for me to escape this nightmare. With renewed determination, I pushed through the undergrowth, the promise of safety spurring me on. Section 7. Silence descends. As I approached the light, the woods fell silent. The wind died down, the rustling leaves stilled, even the crickets stopped chirping. An unnatural quiet settled over the forest, amplifying every crunch of leaves beneath my feet, every beat of my heart. The light grew brighter, revealing a small clearing ahead. My hand trembled as I reached for my flashlight, my finger hovering over the switch, but something stopped me. A primal instinct, a warning screaming in the back of my mind, "Don't shine the light." I crept forward, my senses on high alert. The clearing was empty, no campfire, no house. Just the flickering light hanging in midair. It pulsed with an eerie glow, casting long, distorted shadows that danced and writhed around the clearing. And then I heard it. A low, guttural growl, closer this time, right behind me. My blood ran cold. I was trapped. The hunter had become the hunted. Panic surged through me, but I fought it down. There had to be a way out. Had to be. I scanned the clearing, desperately searching for an escape route, and then I saw it. A narrow path, barely visible in the darkness, leading away from the clearing. It was a long shot, but it was my only hope. Taking a deep breath, I turned and bolted, racing towards the path. The growling grew louder, closer, the sound of heavy footsteps pounding behind me, but I didn't dare look back. I burst onto the path, my lungs burning, each breath a struggle against the cold night air. My legs screamed for respite, muscles aching with every desperate step. But there was no time to stop, no time to even think about stopping. The growling was right behind me, a constant reminder of the danger that lurked in the shadows. The path twisted and turned, a labyrinth of shadows and moonlight, each turn more disorienting than the last. But it was a dead end. A sheer rock face blocked my way, towering above me like an insurmountable barrier. I spun around, heart pounding in my chest like a war drum. Two glowing eyes materialized in the darkness, piercing through the night like twin beacons of doom, followed by the hulking form of a creature unlike anything I'd ever seen. It moved with a predatory grace, each step deliberate and menacing. Its skin was slick and gray, glistening under the faint moonlight like wet stone. Its limbs were long and contorted, twisted in ways that defied nature, and its claws were like daggers, sharp and deadly. And its eyes, oh God, those eyes. They were not just glowing, they were alive with a cold, malevolent intelligence. They burned with a cold, malevolent intelligence, as if the creature could see right through me, into the very depths of my soul. I was trapped with no escape in sight, and the creature knew it. It relished in my fear, feeding off my terror as it closed in, step by agonizing step. I was trapped, cornered with nowhere to run. The creature advanced, its breath a hot, fetid stench in the night air. It opened its maw, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth. A guttural growl rumbled deep within its chest, a sound that promised pain and death. I closed my eyes, bracing myself for the inevitable. This was it. This was how it ended. Alone in the woods, at the mercy of a monster. But the attack never came. I opened my eyes, a flicker of hope igniting in my chest. The creature was gone, vanished without a trace. It was as if the forest had swallowed it whole, leaving no sign of its existence. The only evidence of its presence was the lingering smell of decay, a putrid scent that clung to the air, making it hard to breathe, and the echo of its growl in the night. The sound reverberated through the trees, a haunting reminder of the terror that had just unfolded. I stumbled back, weak with relief and terror. My legs felt like jelly, barely able to support my weight. What was that thing? My mind raced with questions, each more terrifying than the last. And why had it spared me? Was it a warning, or was there something more sinister at play? The forest seemed to hold its breath, as if waiting for the next move. I didn't know the answers. My thoughts were a jumbled mess. a chaotic swirl of fear and confusion. The silence of the forest was deafening, pressing in on me from all sides. But one thing was certain: I had to get out of there. The forest was no longer a place of beauty and tranquility. It had become a realm of nightmares. I was never setting foot in these woods again. The thought of returning sent a shiver down my spine. I needed to put as much distance between myself and this place as possible. As I limped away, the rising sun painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, I felt a glimmer of hope. The light of dawn seemed to promise safety, a stark contrast to the darkness I was leaving behind. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig sent my heart racing. Was the creature still out there, lurking in the shadows? That somewhere out there in the vast expanse of the wilderness, something was keeping its eyes on me. The forest felt alive, as if it had a consciousness of its own. Those glowing eyes were still upon me. They seemed to pierce through the darkness, following my every move. The memory of their eerie glow sent chills down my spine, and I knew, with chilling certainty, that this was not the end. The terror of that night would haunt me forever, a shadow that I could never escape. That I would never truly escape the terror of that night in the woods. The forest had marked me, and its darkness would follow me, a constant reminder of the horrors that lurked just beyond the edge of the light.